And I'd like to talk a little bit about what we're doing this year. And the fundraising project this year is going to an area in Ecuador. Again, I really know some of the key people that are involved in this. One of my fellow E-Club 1 member in Rotary, in the E-Club 1 that I'm involved with, is Pam Gilbert. And she is a retired school teacher from Boulder, Colorado. And about 10 years ago, she was hiking in the Andes in Ecuador. I don't know why. And anyway, she was up at like 10,000 feet and they got lost. The guide got lost, for goodness sakes. So I guess they had missed 2 or 3 paths that were taking them down the other way, and they wandered around and they were really up there, and it was getting kind of life-threatening. And on the other side of this huge big canyon were about 3 or 4 teenage boys that were kind of checking them out and wondering what they were doing wandering around up there, and kind of really then figured out that they were in distress. So they directed them on how to go to an area and climb down this canyon wall and get there safely. And these boys went down and then met them there. And then they took them about 3.5-hour hike around this area and got them kind of back into civilization. And basically, I mean, just saved their lives. These boys were out there at what was called a minga. It's a barn-raising kind of community effort, and they were planting fava beans at 10,000 feet, and I don't know, it's something. So anyway, the relationship continued because Pam took a picture of these guys and, and thanked them very much. And on this conversation down to where civilization started, and she felt that she was somewhat comfortable, these boys were telling her that they walked 3 hours one way each weekend to go to school. And she went, wow, I can't imagine anybody in Boulder, Colorado, sometimes walking 5 minutes to get to school. And it really made an impression on her, especially the fact that these young men had, helped her so dramatically. So on the way home, she really made some commitments to herself. And then 6 months later, she returned to this area with their photograph. And she kind of gets up into these mountains and starts to show this photograph around, going, have you seen these boys? And sure enough, how many people could live up there? So everybody knew somebody else, and they finally got to these kids. And she said, I want to build you a school. I want to thank you very much for what you've done. And I've come back, and I've got some support, and I've been doing research, and I want to build you a school. So she is celebrating her 10th anniversary in this particular area this year. And she has built a school. She has gotten teachers to stay there. She's very aligned with Engineers Without Borders in the USA, with the Colorado area. And what they have done now is they have an irrigation system. They have a really great clean water system for these people, and they've really, really helped this community. So much so that in April of last year, about 35 people who lived at 12,000 feet came down 2 hours and hiked down to there and said, we would really like for you to help us in our community get this water program going, because then we can have a school up where we are. We don't have to hike to all these areas. Would you help us get water? So Pam came to me and said that she had an absolute potable water project, and would I be interested in doing it? Yeah. I said, okay. Let me talk to my board of directors. Let me see. This isn't usually something that I do because we've got some established areas going on. I usually go into more remote areas than 12,000 feet. I kind of rethought that one then later. And so we talked about it. And I have on my board of directors a gentleman named Scott Litke. And he is the ex-editor of the Association of Drill Shaft Contractors. And he was their editor and very involved with engineering and EWB right here in the Dallas, Texas area. And he was with them for 25 years. And Scott said, this is great. Why don't we do this? Why don't we really raise money this year and go in and partner then with EWB? And as we sat around and we talked about that, we thought, you know, this might be a tremendous opportunity for CRounds for Clean Water to establish some credentials and some history with a tremendous organization like Engineers Without Borders, so that they know when we say CRounds for Clean Water would like to be involved and would like to do some funding for you or some fundraising for you, would you be interested in this, or would you bring us other programs that we might want to get involved with? So, so consequently, that's what we're doing. And they sent a team of 6 engineers to this area last year. And now there are 3 of the key engineers that are going over at the end of this month. And they send me reams and reams of emails, they send me pictures, they send me maps of exactly, you know, this means nothing to me. You know, what do I see on this? It's mountains, it's high, you know, right when you get work kind of stuff. So anyway, they are very, very responsible, and they're very accountable to me, because I've made it very, very clear that my big point is I want to know where all this money is going. If I'm doing this, I want to know what you're using it for. And I have told them that I will pay invoices for construction material. The CRounds for Clean Water will not be paying travel expenses, will not be doing anything, but that CRounds for Clean Water will pledge this year, and I'm going to try to work between $10,000 and $25,000 this year for them for just construction material. And the construction material is very basic. They want 2 tanks, they want the piping that goes into certain areas, small, very maintainable system that they believe that they can get up there. So, so that's what we're doing in Ecuador.